All right, let's transport ourselves to Laramie, Wyoming. It is Saturday night. We are at 7,200 feet above sea level.
Yep.
The air is thin, it is undeniably crisp, and the lights at War Memorial Stadium are just beaming down on something that, frankly, hasn't been seen in a generation.
Not at all.
The Wyoming Cowboys aren't just winning a football game, they are actively exercising a ghost that has been haunting the program for, what, nearly 30 years?
It really was a where were you when type of night, wasn't it? I mean, you were talking about a program that has spent decades just, knocking on the ceiling, trying to break through to national relevance.
Right.
And this weekend, against a very tough Air Force team, they didn't just crack the ceiling, they completely tore the roof off the place.
We are looking at a 27-17 victory. But if you are just glancing at the ticker on your TV or checking the box score, you are missing the magnitude of the story.
Oh, completely.
The headline here isn't just the score, it's the history. The Wyoming Cowboys are 11-0. They are undefeated deep into November. And for the first time since 1996, they walked onto that field as a ranked team in the AP Top 25.
That 1996 benchmark is so critical. I mean, think about the world in 1996. The internet was in its infancy. No smartphones. That is how long this fan base has waited to see a little number next to their name on the broadcast.
Wow.
And to see no 21 right there.
Yeah.
That changes the entire psychology of the stadium before the ball is even kicked.
Exactly. So our mission for this deep dive is to unpack not just the what, but the how and the why. We need to figure out, is this team the real deal, or are they just riding a lucky streak? We have the box scores, the recaps, the historical data. We are going to explore the validation of this ranking, the ghost of Josh Allen that was finally caught by Nate Johnson, and the defensive identity that makes this team an absolute nightmare to play against. Because 11-0 is, well, it's uncharted territory for this program.
Uncharted is the perfect word. This is now officially the most wins in a single season in Wyoming history. Not modern history, all history. They've never won 11 games in a season before.
Which brings us to the context of the week leading up to this game. I want to start with that ranking. They land at number 21 in the AP poll before kickoff.
Right.
In college football, getting ranked is a blessing. Sure, it's validation, but it's also a curse, isn't it?
It is a massive psychological shift, and it's one that ruins a lot of teams. We talk about this in sports psychology all the time. There is the hunter mindset, right?
The underdog.
Where you are the underdog, you're scrapping for respect, you have a chip on your shoulder. That is easy motivation. But once you get that number next to your name, you become the hunted.
Suddenly you are everyone else's Super Bowl.
Precisely. Every team you play wants to be the one to knock you off the pedestal. And the source material highlights this tension beautifully. The ranking came out after a dramatic comeback the previous week.
Right.
So going into this Air Force game, there were whispers. There were critics asking, is this a fluke? Did they just get lucky? Do they really belong at number 21?
Right, and then you have the added layer of who you're playing. It's not a standard opponent, it's a service academy. For listeners who might not follow the X's and O's religiously, why is playing a team like Air Force such a trap, especially right after getting ranked?
Oh, it is a nightmare scenario for a defensive coordinator. Service academies, Air Force, Army, Navy, they don't play normal football.
Real at all.
They are incredibly disciplined. They utilize cut blocks, which are physically draining to play against, and they run triple option schemes that you might only see once a year.
Right.
It requires a completely different level of eye discipline and focus. If you are busy patting yourself on the back for being ranked number 21, Air Force will absolutely embarrass you. They will grind the clock and keep your offense on the sideline.
So this game was the litmus test. It was about validation. If you lose this, the ranking disappears and everyone says, see, they weren't that good.
It was the stamp of approval. That is what the sources are calling it. You have to prove you belong in that top 25. And frankly, winning 11 games in a row is almost impossible in modern college football, regardless of who you play.
The parity is just too high.
It's too high. It requires a consistency that college kids rarely possess.
Well, speaking of consistency and, frankly, star power, we have to pivot to the quarterback, Nate Johnson.
Yeah.
Because looking at the stats and the game notes, he did something on Saturday that connects the past to the present in a very, very literal way.
The Josh Allen connection.
The Josh Allen connection. Everyone knows Josh Allen now. He's an NFL superstar, face of the Buffalo Bills, one of the best in the world. But in Laramie, he's like a mythological figure. He's the standard.
Oh, he's a legend there.
And Nate Johnson just walked into the history books right alongside him.
He did, and he did it with flair. The moment happened in the first quarter.
Yeah.
Wyoming gets the ball, they drive down the field, and Johnson breaks off a run into the end zone. That was his 8th rushing touchdown of the season. That broke the single-season record for a quarterback at Wyoming, which was previously held by Josh Allen.
That feels heavy. You are at the stadium where Josh Allen is everywhere. His face is probably on a banner. Fans are wearing his jersey. And here comes Johnson, literally running past his record.
And think about the player profile for a second. To break a rushing record as a quarterback means you are taking hits. You are putting your body on the line.
For sure.
It signals to the rest of the team that I am in this fight with you. It's a leadership metric as much as a performance metric. The source material describes it as past meeting present under the stadium lights, and I think that's perfect. It's like a passing of the torch.
But here's what I found interesting in the analysis. Usually when you have a quarterback who runs that much, defenses will adjust. They'll just sell out to stop the run. They'll stack the box, right?
Right. Stacking the box just means bringing more defenders close to the line of scrimmage, 8 or 9 guys, basically daring the quarterback to throw.
They're saying, we don't believe your arm can beat us.
Exactly. And that's where Johnson surprised me, and probably surprised Air Force. The source calls him both the engine and the headline.
I like that.
He wasn't just running. He was dropping dimes. That is the evolution of this offense. If Johnson were just a runner, Air Force is too smart, they would have shut him down.
They would have figured it out.
But Johnson showed incredible composure in the pocket. He threw 2 touchdown passes to K.J. Parker. He proved he isn't one-dimensional.
We will get to Parker's impact in a minute because he was clutch, but I want to trace the narrative of the game itself because despite the final score being a 10-point win, this wasn't a blowout from the jump.
Not at all.
It started fast. Johnson gets that record-breaking score, but then the gears started grinding a bit.
That is that friction you always get with Air Force. The game slows down, possessions become limited. After Wyoming's initial punch, the offense struggled to find a rhythm. We saw punts traded back and forth.
Yeah.
And then Air Force threw a curveball that nobody expected.
The passing attack.
Yes. And to emphasize how weird this is, Air Force runs the option. Their identity is run, run, run. They want to rush for 300 yards.
That's all they do.
But the source notes they came out with an effective passing game. Their quarterback, Zach Locke, started hitting throws downfield.
Which must have just stunned the Wyoming defense. It's like preparing for a boxing match and the other guy starts doing karate kicks. You just aren't ready for it.
It freezes you. It makes the linebackers hesitate. And Locke managed to tie the game at 7-7 midway through the second quarter. The source explicitly mentions the crowd getting quiet there.
Oh, yeah.
That doubt starts creeping in. Oh, no, are we going to blow the undefeated season here? Is the ranking a jinx?
That anxiety of protecting the win we talked about earlier. And this is where I think the game was actually won or lost. Just over a minute left before halftime. Tie game. Most teams, especially with a conservative coach or a nervous quarterback, would just take a knee, run the clock out, go to the locker room, and regroup.
A conservative team does that. A team playing not to lose does that. But a confident team does what Nate Johnson did.
Right. He orchestrated a 2-minute drill. That drive felt massive.
It changes the entire complexion of the locker room speech. Instead of going in tied, feeling like you are in a dogfight,
you're reeling.
Johnson finds K.J. Parker for a touchdown right before the clock hits 0. You go in up 14-10.
It restores order.
It tells the team, we are fine, we can score when we need to, and we have to give K.J. Parker his flowers here.
Absolutely. The source highlights him as the finisher. He caught that one before the half and then another one early in the fourth quarter. It seems as whenever a play broke down or the pressure was highest, Parker was the safety valve.
Every great quarterback needs that security blanket. When the defensive line breaks through or the coverage is tight, you need a guy who you know will be in the right spot.
That's your guy.
Parker was that guy. The Johnson to Parker connection was the antidote to Air Force's defensive adjustments. They tried to stop the run, so Johnson threw it to Parker.
So they survived the first half scare. They have the lead. The second half turns into a grind, a test of discipline, as the article calls it. Wyoming adds a field goal, but they missed some chances to blow it open. It felt like the door was left slightly ajar.
And usually, letting an opponent hang around is fatal, especially a disciplined team like Air Force.
For sure.
If you let them stay within one score, they will find a way to beat you in the fourth quarter. But this brings us to the other half of the equation. We've talked about the offense, but you don't go 11-0 without a defense that has a mean streak.
The physical identity.
Exactly. And the face of that identity was Dash Gommon.
The senior captain. I was looking at his stat line, and frankly, it looks like a typo. 13 tackles. That is just being everywhere at once.
13 tackles is a career day for most linebackers. That means he was involved in roughly 20 to 25% of all defensive plays. But the number that tells the real story, the number that makes defensive coaches drool, is the 4 tackles for loss.
Okay, let's unpack that for the listener who hears tackle for loss, or TFL, and just thinks it sounds good. Why is that specific stat so much more valuable than just tackling a guy after he gains 2 or 3 yards?
It comes down to the schedule of the offense.
Mm-hmm.
An offensive coordinator calls plays based on being on schedule. 1st and 10, you want 4 yards. That sets up 2nd and 6.
Right.
Then you have the whole playbook open. You can run, you can pass, play action. The defense has to guess.
Options are good for the offense.
Options are essential. But a tackle for loss destroys that schedule.
Mm-hmm.
If Bauman hits you in the backfield for a 4-yard loss, suddenly it is 2nd and 14.
Oh, yeah, that's a killer.
You can't run the ball on 2nd and 14 comfortably. The defense knows you have to pass to get that yardage back. It simplifies the game for them. It allows the defensive line to pin their ears back and attack the quarterback.
And he did that 4 times.
Bauman did that 4 separate times.
Mm-hmm.
He basically killed 4 drives by himself by putting Air Force behind the chains.
He wrecked the game plan. And it wasn't just him solo. The whole unit seemed to feed off that energy. There was a sequence in the 4th quarter that I want to highlight because I think it defines the season.
Yep.
Air Force is driving. They are trying to keep it close. They decide to go for it on 4th down.
The 4th quarter stand. This is where championships are won.
Wyoming stuffs them. The offense takes over, scores that 2nd touchdown to Parker. Boom, 2-score lead. But then Air Force gets the ball back, drives again, and faces another 4th down.
And the defense stuffs them again. 2 4th down stops in the 4th quarter.
That has to be demoralizing for the other sideline.
It breaks their spirit. It sends a message: you are not scoring, you are not moving the ball, go home. That is what the source means by a physical identity. It's not just about hitting hard. It's about winning the leverage battles when everyone else is tired.
Right.
It's about being the team that is still standing when the dust clears.
And doing it against a service academy, which is known for being the toughest team on the field, that makes it even more impressive. So even though Air Force tacked on a late touchdown to make the final score 27-17, the game was effectively over after those defensive stands.
Right. There was the obligatory onside kick attempt, which is always a chaotic 3 seconds of football. But Wyoming recovered. And then we got to see the best formation in football.
The victory formation, Nate Johnson taking a knee.
Securing win number 11. It is incredible to think about the journey from where this program was struggling for relevance, struggling to fill the seats sometimes, to being 11-0 and closing out games with that kind of authority.
So let's zoom out. We have the record, we have the ranking validated, we have the ghosts of the past put to rest. But the season isn't over. They have 1 regular season game left.
That is the big picture here. The source raises a really interesting point about the unknown.
What kind of unknown? They seem pretty known to me right now.
Well, specifically regarding Nate Johnson. He has already passed Josh Allen. He has at least 2 games left, 1 regular season, plus a bowl game or conference championship. He is in rarefied air. Every yard he runs from this point forward is setting a bar that might not be touched for another 20 or 30 years. How much further can he push it?
We are watching a legend in real time, but I'm also thinking about the team dynamic. You mentioned earlier the shift from hunter to hunted.
Right.
They survived the first test against Air Force, but now the pressure ratchets up even higher, doesn't it?
It does. Because now you aren't just protecting a ranking. You are protecting perfection.
The perfect season.
So once you were 11-1, having a great season isn't enough anymore. Human nature takes over. You want the whole thing.
You want it all.
And the source notes that while this season has already carved its place in history, it's not finished. They've already secured the best record ever. Even if they lose next week, it's a historic season. But do you want to be the team that went 11-1 or the team that went 12-0?
That is the danger zone, right?
The final hurdle. It is. Think about the emotional dump of this Air Force game. The crowd, the lights, the record-breaking moment, the relief of winning. The adrenaline crash on Sunday morning must be massive.
Oh, for sure.
The challenge for the coaching staff and for leaders like Dash Bauman is resetting that mentality.
How do you tell a bunch of college kids, hey, forget that we're ranked, forget that we're undefeated, just go practice?
It is incredibly difficult. You have to fight complacency. You have to fight the rat poison, as coaches call it, the media telling you how great you are.
Yeah.
Because the team they play next week, They don't care about the 11-0 record. In fact, they would love nothing more than to be the team that ruined the perfect season.
Ruining the party is a powerful motivator. Being the spoiler is fun.
It is, but looking at how Wyoming played, the balance, the composure from Johnson, the violence of that defense, I wouldn't bet against them. They seem to have a very clear understanding of who they are.
Identity travels well.
It does. A physical run game and a defense that lives in your backfield. You can take that on the road anywhere. You can take that into a bowl game. That formula works in any stadium, in any weather.
So let's recap the takeaways for our listeners. Wyoming is 11-0, the best single-season record in school history.
Yep.
They backed up their number 21 ranking with a gritty win over a tough Air Force team. Nate Johnson is now the rushing touchdown king of Laramie, passing Josh Allen, and the defense proved they can close out games when it matters most.
A historic win, a statement win, and a complete team win.
11 down, 1 to go. It has been a magical ride for the Cowboys, but as we said, the job isn't done.
Not by a long shot.
Yeah.
History books are open, and they're still writing the final chapter.
I want to leave you with a final thought to chew on as you go about your day. We talk a lot about stats and records, the touchdowns, the tackles, the yards, but I want you to think about the mental weight of a 30-year drought. When a program finally breaks through, when they finally achieve what people thought was impossible for 3 decades, does that liberate them? Does the monkey coming off their back allow them to play faster? Or does the fear of losing that newfound status make them tighten up at the finish line?
That is the question that decides championships. Handling success is often much harder than handling failure. When you have nothing to lose. When you have everything to lose.
We will find out next week if they can handle the weight of perfection. Cowboy fans, enjoy the view from the top 25. You have certainly earned it. Thanks for diving in with us.
See you next time.